being frozen out.
Facing an extinction level event.
We don't fight this fight right now, you're not going to have black-owned media. When Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. gave his speech on April 3rd, 1968, commonly referred to as the the mountaintop speech, this is what he said in that speech. He said, quote, "It means that we've got to stay together. We've got to stay together and maintain unity." That's exactly what he said the next day he was assassinated on April 4th, 1968. I wish Urban One CEO Alfred Liggins, as well as NNPA leader Ben Chavis, had followed what Dr. King had to say. Today, the folks at General Motors sent me this email announcing this press release. Please go to my computer. It says, do y'all see it? It says, General Motors transforms approach to diverse media relationships. New action plan follows series of engagement sessions with diverse media. Approach seeks to drive economic empowerment and support a sustainable ecosystem. Plan includes increasing spend with black-owned media to 8% by 2025. It says the company has adopted an action plan with 5 components. Increase diverse media spend. GM has increased its overall diverse media spend, including doubling its commitment for spending with black-owned media to 2% in 2021 and 4% in 2022, with a goal of reaching 8% by 2025. It then says on May 14th, GM is going to hold a dedicated upfront with diverse media owners ahead of the traditional media marketplace. The summit will encourage existing and potential partners to submit an overview of their business for consideration by GM for deeper engagements beyond the summit, including a request for proposal. The process that will be used for the selection of media will be accredited by a third party to ensure fairness and transparency. Sustainable growth. Diverse Marketing Incubator Fund. GM is allocating $50 million over 10 years, that's $5 million a year, to support and scale diverse marketing companies. This investment will support sustainable growth and is incremental to GM's media spend. Number 4, inclusive measurement rubric. With the benefit of input from diverse media, GM established measurement criteria that will allow for more flexibility based on the size and scale of the media organization. GM's priority, in collaboration with diverse media, is to create a win-win for the diverse media companies and GM. Number 5, expanded opportunities. Prospective partnering analysis. GM and its media buying agencies will use a multi-factor analysis for selection of diverse media. The analysis utilizes new criteria for assessing capabilities, reach, and analytics to drive more opportunity for diverse media. This is the quote from Deborah Wall, who is GM's Global Chief Marketing Officer. This action plan will transform our engagement model with diverse media in a sustainable way, said Deborah Wall, GM Global Chief Marketing Officer. Over the course of several weeks, we met with many diverse-owned media organizations. We are grateful for the transparency and spirit of collaboration which helped us frame this inclusive approach. Now watch this. Today's announcement follows GM's pledge in June 2020 as part of the Alliance for Inclusive and Multicultural Marketing to commit equality, inclusion, and systemic change in advertising. Alfred Liggins, CEO of Urban One, which owns Radio One, TV One, Clio TV, Boss-Up, and those sites. Quote, I applaud GM for taking the results of their thoughtful and robust discussions with a significant number of diverse media entities and then developing this thorough, bold, and transformational plan to increase engagement with diverse media. Urban One is the leading platform to reach African American and urban consumers, and we have been delighted with our long and successful partnership with GM. Today's announcement will allow our platforms and other diverse media groups to create unique and customized ways for GM to reach their customer base. Here's the next quote. The NNPA notes with appreciation a recent substantive discussion with General Motors Chairman and CEO Mary Barra and with other GM executives about establishing a strategic partnership between GM and the NNPA going forward today in 2021 and into the future, said Dr. Benjamin F. Chavis Jr., President and CEO of the NNPA, of the National Newspaper Publishers Association. The new GM action plan. The new GM action plan, including stated commitments to increase advertising spends with African American owned newspapers and other African American owned media, is good news for Black America. The NNPA represents 230 African American owned media companies, and we reaffirm our 50-year plus support from GM. Yet, the future looks much brighter today as a result of GM's new transformative commitments and engagement with African American owned media businesses. There are three words I have for these quotes from Alfred Liggins, Ben Chavis, and this entire plan from General Motors. This is bullshit. I don't want to mince any words here. This is bullshit. So let me explain. I, along with several others, signed a letter that was published by Byron Allen in the Detroit Free Press, in major newspapers like the Wall Street Journal and Washington Post, calling out GM for their black media spend. In the call that we had with Deborah Wall, because we were asking for a meeting with the CEO, Mary Barra, we called for a meeting. It was a Monday. They agreed to the meeting on that Thursday, but because the ad ran again on that Wednesday, the ad ran on a Sunday, we bet on Monday, because the ad ran in two other papers on that Wednesday, they canceled the Thursday meeting with us and CEO Mary Barra. They've yet to reschedule that meeting. Now we discover that Mary Barra does an end around to meet with Ben Chavis and the NNPA. That's interesting because after we had our meeting canceled with Mary Barra, that Thursday night, I called Ben Chavis and put him on a phone call with Byron Allen and Todd Brown. And we discussed not doing exactly with what Ben and NNPA did. And that is not to allow GM to play the game of divide and conquer. On that phone call, Ben Chavis told us that GM used to spend in excess of $3 million a year with the black newspapers, and that number had dwindled down to almost $1 million total for 230 black newspapers. On that phone call, we made clear to Ben that if we as black-owned media stick together as a collective, then we would be able to achieve even more money for all of black-owned media. The letter that was signed, Byron Allen, Todd Brown, it was signed by Butch Graves of Black Enterprise, Don Jackson, also signed by Junior Bridgman, the new owner of Ebony, Ice Cube, and I'm missing one. Well, missing one. So it was 7 or 8 of us who signed it. Okay, so we said that. What we said, folks, was we said don't play divide and conquer. Because if they can play divide and conquer, I can give you a little bit. I'm going to give you a little bit more than you're getting, and now you're satisfied. I'm going to give you a little bit more than you're getting, and now you're satisfied. We know for a fact that General Motors drastically cut the spin they did with the American Black Film Festival owned by Jeff and Nicole Friday. Shortly after our call out of General Motors, all of a sudden, GM signs a new 5-year deal with American Black Film Festival that they were touting on their Instagram page. I'm not done yet. In this statement here, it says that General Motors met with these diverse. Now, come back to the statement. It says, General Motors today announced significant changes to the company's model for partnering with diverse media, including diverse-owned and diverse targeted media. Come back. In our discussions, we made clear to General Motors, we are not talking about diverse-owned and diverse targeted. We're not talking about black targeted. We're talking about black owned. What that meant was, we said to General Motors, do not include Black Entertainment Television, BET, in this discussion that we're having. Do not include The Root in this discussion that we're having. Do not include iHeart's Black Information Network, and I have a commentary on there, in that because they're black targeted. We said we are not talking about black targeted, we're talking about black owned. All throughout this statement, you see, number one, go back. GM has increased its overall diverse media spend, including doubling its commitment for spending with black-owned media to 2% in 2021. Did y'all see that? They're saying that they used to spend 1%. Based upon, and now they're spending 2%. Yay! Here's the problem. In the meeting that we had with General Motors, we said, you're spending $3 billion annually on marketing. We said black-owned media is only getting about 10 million of the $3 billion. Deborah Wall told us our numbers were wrong. They said the $3 billion was wrong and the 10 million was wrong. We said, fine, correct the record. They said, oh, we can't because that's competitive marketing that will put us at a disadvantage. So they told us our numbers were wrong, but would not be transparent with the right number. So what does GM say? Oh, we're going to go from 1% to 2%. Ladies and gentlemen, do you realize that 1% of 3 billion comes out to be 30 million? They told us that the 3 billion number was wrong. Okay, so let's say it's 2 billion. That means that you were only spending $20 million with black-owned media companies, and now you're saying you're going to spend $40 million. You know what they have not done? Shown us who the black media companies are and who's getting what. So we're supposed to trust you that you're actually spending 2%. I called a source very familiar with the actual budget of General Motors. I was told point blank that number is a lie. They're not spending that amount. Let me take it further. In this plan, GM announces that they're going to spend 4% by 2022. Go back to my computer here. 4% by 2022 and 8% by 2025. Here's my question, General Motors. Why are you waiting 4 years to spend 8%? Why can't you spend 8% now? Let me inform all of my listeners and viewers who are watching. Black people buy 11.4% of all GM vehicles. GM moves what? 7 million vehicles a year? I want you to listen to what I just told you. Black people account for 11.4% of all vehicles sold by GM, but black-owned media was only getting 1%. Now GM is saying we at 2%, and we're going to be at 8% by 2025. That means that even by 2025, GM will be spending less money on black-owned media than the percentage of cars that black people are purchasing from General Motors. Explain to me, how is that equitable? Let's go a little bit further. In the statement here, General Motors says that they came up with this plan by having meetings with diverse media companies. Ooh, let me help y'all all on this one. I was one of the people who signed the initial letter to General Motors. I was on that Monday call with Deborah Wall. Guess when General Motors scheduled their meeting with me? Next week, April 28th. Don't y'all find it strange that General Motors would announce this new plan that's been praised by Alfred Liggins at Urban One and Ben Chavez at the NNPA, but you're not meeting with one of the signatories of the letter which forced you to release this plan until next week? Todd Brown, who is launching HBCU League Pass, one of the signatories on the letter. They're not scheduled to meet with Todd until May 1st. So wait a minute. Are you telling me that General Motors put together a plan and announced this great black plan? And by the way, they also had not met with Byron Allen yet, which means 3 of the 8 people who signed the letter, they hadn't even met with. So exactly who were these diverse people? Diverse folk they meeting with. In fact, they met with, they were supposed to meet with Todd on May 3rd. Okay, May 3rd. Let me further unpack this. The Detroit Free Press, I'm going to try to pull the article up here, did a story on this particular plan. This is the headline right here. GM vows more money, more opportunity for ad spend with black-owned media. It says Friday, GM revealed a new 5-part plan, the result of a series of meetings between CEO Mary Barra and black-owned media representatives over the past 3 weeks that will offer better access to advertising dollars with GM. Y'all, here's the problem. According to this story, Mary Barra has been meeting with black-owned media representatives. She hasn't met with Byron Allen. She hasn't met with Roland Martin. She hasn't met with Todd Brown. 3 of the 8. She hasn't met with Ice Cube. She hasn't met with Diddy. Who were the folks who called them out? Byron Allen, Todd Brown, Diddy, Ice Cube. Don Jackson? Junior Bridgman? Butch Graves? Y'all see what's going on, right? Let me go further down in the article that I find to be quite hilarious. It says in here, and Byron is quoted in here as well, and y'all gonna really get a kick out of this one in this article. Is this right here? GM's new plan was in part devised during an hour-plus long Zoom meeting Monday between Ben Chavis Jr., CEO of the National Newspaper Publishers Association, his team, GM's Barra, and other senior leaders at GM, Chavis said. Chavis told the Free Press on Friday that Barra offered, and you see the 1.2 million in here quoted. He told the Free Press on Friday that Barra offered detailed, measurable, and meaningful goals during the meeting. Y'all, detailed, measurable, and meaningful goals during the meeting. I told y'all that I personally called Ben Chavis and connected him on the phone with Todd Brown and Byron Allen when the GM canceled the meeting the first time. The Free Press is saying that Dr. Ben Chavis met with CEO Mary Barra and GM on Monday to come up with this plan. Today is Friday. Do y'all know when we found out about this plan? This morning, in an email from General Motors. Ben Chavis never called any of us. Ben never even told us that he was having a meeting with them. And they came up with this, never told us that they were devising this plan. We found out through General Motors. I'm greatly disappointed in that because we literally talked about this with Ben. And we said to Ben, let's not play the divide and conquer game. Let's not let them do exactly what they did. Ben was on that call. Alfred Liggins is quoted in this article. Since we put that letter out that was published, since we have gone public calling out General Motors and other companies, Alfred Liggins has never reached out to Byron Allen, Todd Brown, or me or any of the signatories on that letter. I go back to the quote from Dr. King. We got to stick together. We were not calling out General Motors so we can get paid. We were calling out General Motors and every company in America so we can get paid. So here's what General Motors has now done. By putting out a press release quoting Alfred Liggins, the CEO of Urban One, and quoting Ben Chavis, who heads the NNPA and his 230 black newspapers, what they're basically saying is, black people, we got this thing covered. We've already talked to the two most important black people from our perspective, so we're good. This is our plan. Let me go back to the money, people. In the meeting that we had with General Motors, we told them, you need to be spending at least 5% of your marketing budget annually with black-owned media companies. We put the figure at $200 million. That's 5%, y'all, of the $3 billion. That's what we laid out. We said, but we really said it should be 10%. So here's the real deal. Since black people are buying 11.4% of General Motors cars, we believe that black-owned media, not black targeted, not have General Motors called diverse targeted, which includes a lot of people. We said black-owned. If black-owned media got $300 million annually from General Motors, and this is what we said. I need y'all to listen to me clearly. We said to Deborah Wall, we want a 10-year contract to minimum $200 million a year with 5% escalators. That means that the pool of money, hear me? The pool of money that will be going to all black-owned media would go from the paltry 1% General Motors was spending to at least $200 million. Now remember, General Motors said our numbers were wrong. So let me use $2 billion as the overall number. I need y'all to follow the numbers. I need y'all to see the game being played when they throw out percentages so we can go, oh my God, they doubled it. Imagine if General Motors was spending $2 billion a year marketing, and we said we should be getting 10% of the $2 billion. That means we will be getting $200 million. If they're spending 1%, that means we're only getting $20 million right now. That means that if the black-owned media companies, Alfred Liggins and Ben Chavis, had stuck with us, we collectively would have gone from, again, we don't trust their numbers because we believe the number is around 10 million, but let's just say it's 20. We as black-owned media would go from 20 million in 1 year to 200 million in the same year. Let's just use General Motors numbers. Take 2 billion. They said they were doing 1%, now it's 2. That means they've gone, if they were doing 2 billion, that means they've gone from 20 million to 40 million in 1 year. Then they say we're going to go to 44% in 2022. That means they want to go from 40 million this year to 80 million in 2022. But then they want us to wait 3 more years. Y'all ain't paying attention. They want to go 2 to 4% in from 2021 to 2022. But then they want to wait 3 years to go from 4 to 8. That means that you want to go, using your numbers, you want to go from 10 million, from 20 million, and y'all want to take it to 8% by 2025. Why are we waiting 4 years? The black-owned media companies exist right now. We are here right now. I'm here. Byron's here. Todd's here. Essence is here. Junior Bridger and Ebony's here. Black Enterprise is here. Blavity is here. I can go on and on and on. Y'all, we're all here right now. But see, what General Motors wants us to do and go, whew, they want us to be like Alfred Liggins and Ben Chavis. Whew, boy, this is a great plan. No. Game, recognized game, y'all. Let me take you back. Let me go back to their plan. Let me further unpack this thing for you. Look at this here. On May 14th, GM will hold a dedicated upfront with diverse media owners ahead of the traditional media marketplace. Y'all, what they're saying is we're going to have the real upfront where we spend the real money. And we do a little summit over here for y'all. GM, if we're media companies and they're media companies, why aren't we in the same marketplace? Are you talking about GM creating a separate but equal marketplace? Or is this a separate but unequal marketplace? In here, I love this here. The summit will encourage existing and potential partners to submit an overview of their business for consideration by GM for deeper engagements beyond the summit, including a request for proposal. The process that will be used for the selection of media will be accredited by a third party to ensure fairness and transparency. Oh! General Motors, do y'all use a third party for white media? Is there a third party that y'all use when you go and meet with Complex and CNN and MSNBC and Fox News and GQ and others? Is a third party vetting them? So exactly why is there a third party to vet, quote, accredited media? Why do we need a third party? Diverse Marketing Incubator Fund. GM is allocating $50 million over 10 years to support and scale diverse marketing companies. I'm sorry. Is that black-owned marketing companies? Because I recall in the letter that we published, we were very specific. Black-owned. This says diverse marketing companies. Y'all, this is the game that they play to freeze black-owned media out. They use phrases like diverse, BIPOC, black, indigenous, people of color, or whatever that phrase, what the hell it even means. We know what black-owned is. We're real clear. And let me help y'all out. Y'all about to get blown out by this. Go back to the traditional media marketplace. Y'all see that right there? The traditional media marketplace. Guess how much money these agencies and businesses commit in the upfronts? 80% of their marketing budgets. Y'all didn't hear what I just said. 80%. Go back to here. So they commit 80% of their marketing budgets during these upfronts. Deals literally being signed. Oh, but they're going to give us a summit where we can submit proposals. But y'all ain't submitting, asking for proposals from the white-owned companies. Y'all cutting ad deals. So why isn't General Motors going to cut ad deals on May 14th? Folks, this is why you negotiate as a collective. Because you come to the table with people who know how the game is played, who know how they try to freeze us out of the marketplace, who they know how they try to freeze us out of the dollars. And that's what this plan is. This is a trash plan. And I don't care if Alfred Liggins is quoted in here. And I spent 13 years at TV One, 11 years at Tom Joyner, Reach Media owns, Radio One owns them. I don't care if Ben Chavis is quoted in there. I've run 3 black newspapers. Guess what? This is an awful deal. And let me say to all the black newspapers, by Ben Chavis agreeing to this, he's actually cost y'all more money. They were only spending $1.2 million. Ask them how much GM is going to spend more. Another $1 million? Another $1.5 million? Had they negotiated with us as a collective, y'all could have got $5 to $7 million. This is why you don't cut a separate deal from everybody else. This is why you fight for the collective. Our position to General Motors is we're not accepting 2% in 2021 and 4% in 2022. And we're going to wait till 2025 for 8%. No. Spend 8% now. And that's what Alfred Liggins should have maintain. And that's what Ben Chavis should have maintained. Black people, I have told y'all, we've got to stop playing ourselves small. We got to stop letting somebody give us an extra crumb and we think that all of a sudden we're doing better than we were last time. This, folks, is an awful deal. And let me be clear to every single major company out there. Do not try to use this General Motors plan as a model, because this is a trash plan. This is grossly unacceptable. This is not going to allow black-owned media to be able to grow the way it needs to grow. This is not increasing the pie. What this is doing is playing us small. And I say to the black senior executives and the black board members at General Motors, you should be telling Mary Barra and Deborah Wall, this is simply unacceptable. And just because you got two black people to sign off on this does not mean folks like me are going to sign off on this as well. So General Motors, I look forward to our meeting on April 28th. Don't come with this plan. Y'all better come with specifics. Because here's the deal. I'm not getting any money from y'all right now. So what the hell I got to lose?